Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today, I am going to talk about the G20 Summit that took place in New Delhi, India from September 8 to 10, 2023. The G20 Summit is an annual meeting of the leaders of the world's 20 major economies, which together account for about 80% of the global GDP, trade and population. The summit is a platform for discussing and coordinating policies on global issues such as economic growth, trade, climate change, health, development and security. This year, India hosted the G20 Summit for the first time and assumed the presidency of the group. India's theme for the summit was Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, One Earth, One Family, One Future, which reflects its vision of a more inclusive, sustainable and resilient world. India also invited some guest countries and international organizations to participate in the summit, such as Australia, South Africa, Singapore, Vietnam, the African Union, the United Nations and the World Health Organization. So, what were the main outcomes and achievements of the G20 Summit under India's leadership? Let's find out. First of all, the G20 leaders adopted the New Delhi Leaders Summit Declaration 1, which is a comprehensive document that outlines their collective commitments and actions on various global challenges. Some of the key highlights of the declaration are: the G20 leaders pledged to strengthen global economic recovery and resilience in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. They agreed to extend the debt service suspension initiative for low-income countries until December 2032 and endorsed a new allocation of special drawing rights worth $650 billion by the International Monetary Fund 3 to boost liquidity and support vulnerable economies. The G20 leaders reaffirmed their commitment to fight climate change and achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions by mid-century 4. They also endorsed the Global Methane Pledge 5 to reduce methane emissions by at least 30% by 2030 and launched the Global Biofuel Alliance 6 to promote clean energy sources. The G20 leaders agreed to enhance global health cooperation and pandemic preparedness. They supported the Access to COVID-19 Tools Accelerator 7 and its COVAX Facility 8 to ensure equitable access to vaccines, diagnostics and therapeutics. They also established a new Global Health Threats Council 9 to monitor and respond to future health emergencies. The G20 leaders emphasized the importance of inclusive growth and social protection for all. They endorsed the Global Plan for Gender Equality 10 to empower women and girls and reduce gender gaps. They also adopted the New Delhi Action Plan on Quality Education 11 to ensure universal access to education and skills development. The G20 leaders recognized the potential of digital transformation for innovation and development. They adopted the New Delhi Principles on Digital Governance to foster a free, open and secure digital environment. They also launched the G20 Digital Hub to facilitate digital cooperation and exchange of best practices. The G20 leaders reaffirmed their support for multilateralism and global partnerships. They welcomed the African Union as a permanent member of the G20 and announced a mega rail and shipping connectivity project called India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor to enhance regional integration and trade. They also expressed their concern over the Ukraine conflict and called for a peaceful resolution in accordance with international law. These are some of the major outcomes of the G20 Summit that reflect India's proactive role and contribution as the host and president of the group. But what is the impact of these outcomes on India's economy and growth prospects? Let's see. According to some experts, hosting the G20 Summit has boosted India's image and influence as a global leader and partner. It has also showcased India's strengths and achievements in various sectors such as infrastructure, innovation, culture and hospitality. Moreover, hosting the summit has given India an opportunity to engage with other countries bilaterally and multilaterally on issues of mutual interest and benefit. For instance, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held several meetings with other world leaders such as US President Joe Biden, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, Russian President Vladimir Putin, Chinese President Xi Jinping, virtually, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, French President Emmanuel Macron, Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga, Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, Singapore Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, Vietnam Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh and others. These meetings have resulted in enhanced cooperation and collaboration on various areas such as trade, investment, defense, security, energy, health, education, technology, climate change and counter-terrorism. According to some estimates, hosting the G20 Summit has also generated economic benefits for India worth around $20 billion. This includes the direct and indirect spending by the delegates, the media, the security personnel, the hospitality sector, the transport sector, the construction sector and others. It also includes the potential investments and business opportunities that may arise from the increased visibility and exposure of India's market and potential. Furthermore, implementing the outcomes of the G20 Summit will also have a positive impact on India's GDP and growth in the long run. According to the International Monetary Fund, India is expected to grow by 9.5% in 2023 and 8.5% in 2024, making it the fastest growing major economy in the world. This growth will be supported by the recovery from the pandemic, the structural reforms, the fiscal stimulus, the monetary easing and the external demand. However, this growth will also depend on how effectively India can address the challenges and risks such as inflation, unemployment, inequality, poverty, health, education, environment and security. Therefore, hosting and leading the G20 Summit has been a significant achievement for India and a milestone for its global aspirations. It has also been an opportunity for India to showcase its vision of a more inclusive, sustainable and resilient world. However, it is also a responsibility for India to follow up on its commitments and actions and to work with other countries and partners to achieve the common goals and objectives of the G20. That's all for today's video. I hope you found it informative and interesting. If you did, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to leave your comments and feedback below. Thank you for watching and see you next time.